Utilize our congresswoman because that's why she's sitting over there at the White House for.
Mm-hmm.
Be an advocate for us. Do better with the websites and social media. You know, heck, sponsor us. We can be. Go ahead and sponsor the YUSA. We'll be the one talking for you guys as a podcast. Because
For
as you
real.
know, that the podcast world is really where it's at right now, where the media is turning to. You know, people can laugh and joke that those that are not podcasters, but we all know as podcasters, only reason why Donald Trump is sitting on going to be the president is because Joe Rogan, Pat McDavid, and the what is it, 500 million followers that they have that are all U.S. People. So that's a way to do it, right?
Right.
Testimonies. Everyone that has a complaint, if you get a kamumu from the behind, but you know, you don't want to show your real face because you want to put a front like you're a Christian, and you don't want to show the bad side. But reality is reality.
Showcasing roots, Samoan pride. From the islands to the countryside. Wayus and Queen, we're family strong. Two cousins in America where we belong. Join the journey, let's pass the time. With culture, dreams, and hearts that climb.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the YOOS podcast. I am Kenny Mofanua.
Queen, Waus, what's up?
And we are the YOOS podcast, bringing you, highlighting anything in this world, whatever it's hot topics or serious conversation when it comes to Polynesians. We're here to showcase all that. And as you've seen us, for those that follow us on our streaming social media platforms, we put out the little shorts of giving our audience opportunity to give us feedback on this topic that we're about to discuss today, which is Hawaiian Airline being the only airline that travels and brings our people back home to American Samoa in the capital city of Pango Pango. And that's what we're going to be talking about.
Thank you to those who responded, engaging on this very topic. It's a topic that not too many. It's not out there, but it's out there. If you understand what I'm saying. So basically, we're talking about it. I can say that well, we're talking about it as we get close into this episode. Governor Togiola did try something, but was basically shut down. But yeah, we all hear the same concerns, the complaints. And so Hawaiian Airline, it's not a bad airline. We're not here to bash it, but to ask the question why. Why the treatment of some of the people? Not everyone gets treated the same way, but there are quite a good, more than a handful that have concerns and issues with this company, the Hawaiian Airlines. So I'm glad we're talking about this. And those of you that saw what Kenny did, put a little reel out there to engage folks. So here we are. This is what our topic for today. The beautiful Hawaiian Airlines to Pango Pango, American Samoa.
Just to go further on that, for our diverse audience, it's for our own experience from our little island that we come from, but maybe also I'm pretty sure other countries out there or small islands like ours can relate to this kind of situation when these big companies who use the quote of like, oh, we're here to connect the world, right? But then in hindsight, not nobody really has, for the small people or just for those common folks that doesn't have a voice. This is our platform to try our best to showcase that because it's not something that is popular on the main media, or just when I'm saying media, the news, rather it's on radio or TV. It's something that I'm pretty sure a lot of other countries can relate to, the unfairness when we're talking about ticket prices. We're talking about even just the customer service, the way they're handling us. And then some of the folks also mentioned the aircraft. So if you can resonate to that, we appreciate it. And if you like our content, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and just spread the news to your friends and family. that we are out here to try to do that. But now we're not only just talking about Samoans. Of course, we're doing that because us, the hosts, that's our ethnicity. But we also want to extend the invitation to all our Polynesian folks out there. I want to also say, even like the Filipinos and the Caribbeans, because we're all pretty much the same. Might be a different ocean, but we relate, right, cuz?
Right? So that's the content for today.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting there. How are we getting there and the cost of getting there. We get international flights, and it costs money. And I know when I travel to American Samoa, you have to plan it. You expect the fares to be expensive, high, but there's things that happen that you don't plan. For instance, funerals. Are people always, they fly home for funerals, falalavas, and so forth. Those are things you don't plan for. Well, I'm sure you plan for it, but for the airfare, it's, that's part of one of the issues that concerns a lot of people when it's time to start budgeting for that. So in 2006, a significant dispute arose between American Samoa's Governor Togiola Tulafono and Hawaiian Airlines, the sole carrier operating flights between Honolulu and Pago Pago at that time. Governor Tulafono accused the airline of predatory pricing and inadequate service, alleging that it overcharged passengers and subjected them to discrimination and ethnic harassment. This is what we mentioned earlier. So, in response, Governor Toliola issued an executive order demanding that Hawaiian Airlines cease its operation on this route within 90 days, intending to replace it with another carrier. However, the government stepped in. The Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, they intervened, asserting that such an action would violate federal laws. The FAA emphasized that preventing or impeding an air carrier service at an airport contradicts the airport's operators' contractual obligation to provide reasonable and non discriminatory access. They warned that enforcing the governor's order could jeopardize the federal assistance to American Samoa. Additionally, the Air Transport Association, ATA, representing major U.S. airlines, labeled Governor Tulafono's attempt as an illegal and misguided attempt to regulate airfares. Hawaiian Airlines basically maintained that the governor's order lacked legal authority and continued its operations between Honolulu and Pago Pago. The airline cited high operational costs, including rising fuel expenses, as justification for its fare structure. This confrontation highlighted the complexities of federal versus territorial authority in regulating air travel and underscored the challenges faced by remote communities dependent on limited airline services. Little synopsis is basically we're stuck with federal laws, and we're stuck with Hawaiian Airlines that the only airline that's able to come to American Samoa. Hawaiian Airlines claim because it's far, which causes air fuel to be costly. All those excuses that's there, which it could be legit, but if we compare it to other airlines going to other countries, is it the same or is it more? Is it less? But what are your thoughts about that?
First of all, it's shocking. It was shocking to me because that's something that we hear other ethnicities in the
Mhm,
U.S. complain about, and then now that it's hitting home,
mhm,
it hits home. It's like a wake up call. It really does hurt because it's
mhm,
like you can just see that our governor, our small little governor, uh, heard our people's complaint, and then also, yet alone, him himself experience the the unfair treatment when it comes to customer service, and then also just the prices are ridiculous,
mhm.
and we can all attest to that. So
We can.
one thing is I'm grateful for Governor for even trying to to make something happen, even when as far as putting a halt and threatening them that we're gonna find else other resources or other competitions to take up this service from Pango to
Right.
Honolulu. Oh,
Right. Yeah.
number two is bringing it to light. Uh, it really does suck because, well, I guess there is no number two. I'm just grateful for the fact that the governor himself. Now, what really bothers me is that it ended there. It was like the FAA, as Queen and myself knows, and for those that are not understanding what the FAA is, they are the pretty much the police for airport or the federal or the governor for airports. And basically what they say, it goes. And that's it. It just really sucks to see our governor stop from there and not fight it, right? Not
Yeah.
in other words. And all it brings to me that comes to attention is the fact that this is back in 2006. So that means that it shows that our government, did not even have enough ammunition. When I'm saying that, I'm talking about advisors,
Right.
attorneys, lawyers, understanding the laws and regulations of airport regulations, right? They didn't have the backup of advisors, whether it's financial advisors or just somebody within his department of staff to be able to counter or, defend
Yeah.
the opposing argument from Hawaiian Airlines. So it's disappointing because if this was in the mainland of America, there would have been a defense counter, right? Count
Mm.
a reaction to whatever, however you say that stuff. But that's where the disappointment comes from, and I feel like that's where me and you and our podcast, because like I told you off air, we talked about this what a week ago,
Right.
almost 2 weeks, and we posted it on our social media. There's not enough data on the internet that provides us with this. And the only sources that we can go to is, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, is hawaiianair.com or Hawaii.
Mm.
And do you think they're going to give us informations?
Mhm.
Because I have reached out and no response through the contacts. There's ways to go about things of reaching out to folks just to even have an opportunity or an interview about it. There's nothing like that. That's my thoughts on that, on what you were
Yeah.
asking.
The simple fact that you reached out and no comment, it's normal.
Yeah.
We anticipated that. So there's other means of getting information, and basically, if we're gonna want to do something about it, we're gonna have to learn how to deal with these situations. And when I mentioned the last show, the FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act, we're gonna start doing a lot of that from YOs, requesting information on on certain things that we need for data collection and so forth. And this is one of the stuff that we will be doing FOIA requests, just like how we mentioned with the previous episode on the government contracting and stuff, which I am working on contracts on that. I mean, FOIA requests on that, because I know I probably won't get it from the American Samoa government office. Anywho, Hawaiian Airlines has a history with American Samoa, with their people. We hear a lot of it, but there's nothing tracking it. There's no data, like Kenny said. There's absolutely no data there, and we need the data. Thanks to all of you who reached out to send us information, your story, because we wanted to hear your stories. We have our story, but we'd rather hear the people out their story so we can get it out there, because things like this, when we start trying to look on the internet, which is not our only sole resource, we want to start hearing from people and collect data, which is very pivotal for what we're trying to do here. Why ooze is going to be driving this movement. The unfairness of this, the treatment of passengers traveling to and from American Samoa. Hawaiian Airlines has a history with American Samoa, and kudos to Togiola, who tried. And like Kenny said, I wish he had a good advisory team at the time because someone could have advised him, the executive order really just stops there in American Samoa because federal laws do expand and the airspace, there's laws for all of that. That's why the FAA and all the other government agencies stepped in. And they probably basically laughed the way, I read it, the article, they laughed at it. It was a laughable thing. But the fact that Togiola tried, kudos to him. You know, he heard the people and he tried his best. But now we're still at a stage, we're still at the same spot from years ago. Hawaiian Airlines will continue to be and continue to do what they do with the expensive airfare and so forth, and the treatment, the rudeness of treatment.
The fact that we weren't able to counter back with an argument of what the FAA put out. We also did our own research of like what, let's just say we're going back to 2006. And Tongiola did have advisors. They could have been able to argue the fact that there was a racial profile because one of the arguments was the reason why the airfare was very expensive or they had to upcharge it was the fact that weight capacity, which is that's one thing that they could have argued about. Another thing is they could have argued was put out to the local community to file a complaint, write
Mhm.
stuff down. And I'm bringing this up because I know our nationalities are not the only ones like that. A lot of us common folks, that's the steps that we don't like taking. And we feel like we're always saying the same old thing, like, oh, this is not going to go anywhere. Well,
Yeah,
if you're not willing to even do that extra step of writing down a complaint or getting somebody that knows how to write a complaint for you, how are
good
you
point.
able to say something? How are you able to complain and say, well, it's only just gonna this is they're not gonna listen. Of course they're not gonna listen because there's a structure, there's a format that you have to follow. There's our rules and they're putting in place for us common folks to not take that extra step. So again, the Why Ooze podcast is here to help us have a change of mindset, have an understanding that you need to take these extra steps in order to make change happen. Here's another example. I've even went as far as asking, well, let's have some comparison because I know that Honolulu to Pango Pango, that's a 5 hour flight.
Hmm.
Well, lucky enough that we had data to show us that from Honolulu to LA, Los Angeles, it's a 5 hour flight. Same, same kind of aircraft, same amount of people that travels the same distance. And guess what? From Honolulu to LAX, it's $500. But from Honolulu to Pango Pango, it doubles the amount, which is 1,000. You never find a fare below $1,000.
Hmm.
And our people are just so used to just paying stuff forward and just turning the other cheek and just going forward. And that's where the frustration, that's where my frustration comes in. Because even when we try to advocate for our people, all you're gonna hear is like, man, just stop complaining. If fallaso de ali, you know, that's
Yeah.
that's
Okay,
just
preacher
like,
man.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
shut the fuck up with that. Like I want to, like don't, be humble. It's just I'm tired of that. Tired of that because it's like and it doesn't affect our people until it actually happens. And when does it happen? Let's just say for myself or even a cousin of ours, a family member of ours who came out to the US, to the mainland, and we were in our early 20s and his father was sick and passed away. Now they had to go back home. But guess what? The fare was very expensive and my cousin didn't even make enough money. So he had to go pull out loans, and all of us family had to come together just to afford this $1,000 for the family member to make it back home. Situations like that, that's the only time people will give a fuck about this kind of topic. But I'm trying to help our people think 10 steps ahead. That's where I'm at with
Yeah.
that, cuz.
Good point. It's the mindset. The Hawaiian Airlines could have reasons talk about the airfare prices. They use all those excuses. but we too have to do our research on the laws. That's why we're doing this, is because we want to start documenting, collecting data, and for even any of that to happen, like Kenny mentioned, is changing the mindset of letting things just slide after we complain about it, and then we just go about our day, but then it affects the next person and the next person. If you are going through something or went through something traveling to American Samoa, you can document it by making a complaint to Hawaiian Airlines, and that's where you start from. We don't have to be rude, and the best way to handle that is just take the agent's name, make sure that you document on your phone or write it down, the time, the date, and the airport or where at, and see if you have any witnesses also with the workers. It's important to have all that documented. And then when you send in your report, you'll, you know, you'll just put that approximately, December 24th at 2:15 p.m. I was with agent, T, and then you just explain what happened. Just a real quick email, at least it's documented. And then, people like us will probably come in and do the FOIA request or ask for all that. And that's how you get, or just CCYOs, you know, service@YOs.com. Send us a copy of your complaint so we can start doing our collecting also, make it easier for us.
And what about video, like how Sarah did it? You know what I'm saying? Is that
Mhm.
because I believe nowadays they're also starting to take that into consideration, right? When you're recording it and
Oh,
putting it on
yeah.
social
Hmm.
media, like all of that helps. You don't even have to be an expert of writing stuff down. Sometimes you just got to whip your phone out, like Brother Ace did, and just record the situation.
Hmm.
Just little stuff like that, man, will help you go a
Everyone's
long
doing
way.
that these days,
Yep.
pulling out their phone and recording.
And that's how people are able to look into it, like the experts.
Hmm.
It goes viral and everybody starts talking about it. Then it brings awareness because a lot of companies does that. Matter of fact, it has happened a few times from one of the Usos. He posted something about like a company, and it was like a customer complaint. Well, the corporate itself wrote back and apologized because now that's the way to go about it because they don't want their names to be out
Tarnished
there
out
like
there.
that through social media, which is being the new media. So there's a lot of ways nowadays.
Absolutely. It's just whether you do it or not. But this is the movement we are wanting to do, and we are, this is a call of action for everybody. You want to help us out? If you don't, that's fine too. But just know that we are here. We already started. So let's talk about this 2016 incident, the seat assignment policy.
Yeah.
So in 2016, Hawaiian Airlines implemented a policy on flights between Honolulu and Pango that prevented passenger from pre-selecting seats, citing weight distribution concerns. This led to complaints of discrimination as it primarily affected American Samoan passengers. The U.S. Department of Transportation reviewed the policy and allowed it to continue. What are your thoughts of that? Why would you think Hawaiian Airlines implement the weight restriction, seat assignment policy?
My personal opinion, I think they only did that just as an excuse, a loophole to continue charging our people the crazy amount of over $1,000. So it's just another loophole.
So, in one of the articles I read into, two businessmen were traveling to American Samoa. They had to step on a scale. This was when this first was implemented. And so they were unable to pick their seats. The agents had to assign them to their seats to distribute the weight in the airplane. Um, I don't know how that works, but I hear that all the time because I do travel a lot. They always say stay in your seat due to weight regulations, especially when the aircraft is empty. Um, but this weight thing caused a lot of complaints and a lot of concerns, and this is like just the more of the conflict with the American Samoa. As you know, they still don't allow you sometimes pick your seats, but then when you do pick your seats, all of a sudden it's changed or you've been kicked off the flight. We're gonna get there later, but That's where the segue goes into the complaints of the customer service. So, various online reviews highlight issues such as perceived rudeness from staff, lack of assistance with baggage, and inadequate in flight services. While these reviews are not exclusively about the flights to American Samoa, they contribute to the overall perception of the airline service quality. That's Hawaiian Airlines. Hawaiian Airlines has a history of it. Um, and there's been complaints, but we're talking specifically with American Samoa. So we talked about the historical disputes, the 2006 incident, and then the 2016, which all boils down to the customer service. I remember people talked about how far they place our gates for American Samoa, real far. Before they remodeled the new space they have now, they used to put the American Samoa flight way at the end of the other side of the airport, or probably the same side, but it was a long walk. You had to take that wiki bus if because it's crazy if you're walking, if you're young, you have strong legs, or if you're even, good shape, you can make that. But not too many people can walk that far. Those are some of the complaints, common complaints of people traveling to American Samoa. And it's been consistent. It's been going on for a long time. And I think the biggest issue is right now is the airfare. It's never under $1,000 round trip. It's more than that. Even a one way could be up to $900 or 800, but that's just one way, you know. It still adds up when you have to come back home. It's ongoing, but like we said earlier, if we don't do anything about it, nothing's going to happen. We're just going to stand still. The question is, where do we go from here?
First of all, I mean, what did we talk about on the last episode? 25 million. Invest some of that $1 million into hiring actual expert attorneys, advisors, financial advisors to aid the governor for better decision making when it comes to airfares, because it's very expensive. Yes, that's one. Another thing is utilize our congresswoman, because that's why she's sitting over there at the White House for.
Mm-hmm.
Be an advocate for us. Do better with the websites and social media. You know, heck, sponsor us. We can be. Go ahead and sponsor the YUSA. We'll be the one talking for you guys as a podcast. Because
For
as you
real.
know, that the podcast world is really where it's at right now, where the media is turning to. People can laugh and joke that those that are not podcasters, but we all know as podcasters, only reason why Donald Trump is sitting on going to be the president is because Joe Rogan, Pat McDavid, and the what is it, 500 million followers that they have that are all U.S. People. So that's a way to do it, right?
Right.
Testimonies. Everyone that has a complaint, if you get it can move from the behind, but you know you don't want to show your real face because you want to put a front like you're a Christian, and you don't want to show the bad side. But reality is reality.
Can you pull up that Hawaii Airlines statement? So here's Hawaii Airlines full statement in reference to the 2016 implementation of seat assignments. This action resulted from the recognition that over time our fuel burn on Pango Pango flights was consistently much higher than projected, indicating that our weight assumptions were inaccurate. We review weights on any flight within our route network that demonstrates such a discrepancy. For example, we surveyed our Japan and Korea flights in 2015 and our new Narita flight earlier this year. Since fuel consumption can change due to multitude of factors like wind, fuel, policy changes, flight routing, etc., we perform a process of elimination to eliminate all other factors before we conclude that the assumed passenger weight is not representative of the actual passenger weight for a particular route. That triggers a passenger weight survey to establish a new standard passenger weight for the route only. Using FAA protocols, a survey was conducted on all of our Pango flights during a 6-month period beginning in February. During this this time frame only, all passengers, along with their carry-on luggage, were weighed. The survey results confirmed that our aircraft cabin weight was heavier than projected. This requires us to manage the distribution of weight across each row in our cabin, and we have elected to do so by making sure that one seat in each row is either empty or occupied by a traveler under the age of 13. The design to assign seats at the airport was made because that it is the most efficient way to manage weight distribution. This allows us to make sure that families with children are seated together, for example, and it minimizes the confusion created by changing pre-selected seats. We conducted our first flight under the weight distribution guidelines this week, and were able to accommodate all passengers and accommodate all parties traveling together. I want to make a comment on, leaving the middle seat open and having the pre-assigned seat selections. That caused problems that people were complaining about currently and in the past. When you're assigned a seat, and the next thing you know, your seat's been changed or you've been kicked off the flight. I know personally individuals who's been removed from the flights. So families of those who work at the airlines are put on, or friends, or government employees to travel to and from American Samoa. That's sad. It just made it easier. That's just my opinion of how I see this comment of the reason why they leave the middle seat open for children, which makes sense. But are we taking advantage of that situation? We can't see the flight manifest, So the only way we can see it is when people actually follow through on their complaint all the way to the top. And it did come to the bottom where the people that were supposed to be on the flight were actually removed from people in American Samoa Hawaiian Airlines. That's sad.
So that's good. So we're being transparent too. We're not just
Mm-hmm.
blaming Hawaiian Air, it's also the staff. And unfortunately, the staff happens to be descendants from freaking American Samoa too. You know, laugh
Why?
at
Oh,
our pain.
why?
Why? Oops, right? And that's common. It's about who you know. I mean, that's a lot of complaints that we had from our previous short clip that we posted about where you were congratulating P and P.
Mm-hmm.
For the ones that don't got to connect the hookups, which is happens to be the majority, is one of the main complaints that we have. We have to be transparent, and yes, one of the main causes is our own people who's switching people's seats. The unfairness. Just because you work at Hawaiian Airlines doesn't mean you have the privilege to just go ahead and, yeah, you have the privilege to do that. Not privilege, but you have the access to be able to do stuff like that. But do it in a mind. You should have some kind of integrity doing it. You know what I'm saying?
But if these are full fare people who pay their fare,
Yeah.
you shouldn't even be touching them. I'm sorry. Not all air agents are like that in American Samoa. I'm not saying all of them are the same, but
Yeah, we're
there
not saying
are,
that.
yeah, there are people
Unfortunately.
doing it, which is sad because when it comes down to it, unless the workers in Hawaii are blaming the ones in American Samoa, but then I know for a fact that a veteran was removed from his flight. He was supposed to go to his appointment in Hawaii, but they added the government workers because they were going somewhere. I think it was that art festival in Hawaii back in June or July. That's what people were talking about when I was out there in Island. There, and then next thing you know, people are removed from their seat, and then someone else gets it. I it's sad. Like, well, why? Why American Samoa?
And that's probably another reason why Togiola wasn't able to go far with it because not only that, he's getting he's getting stabbed behind his back. People
Mm-hmm.
intend to bring up situations like even on the White House podcast, everybody likes to bring up these controversial topics. But when, I'm offering you the opportunity to show your face and talk about it, like, oh, no, you can do it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, You can't fix nothing if nobody's willing to do it as a majority. That is sad though.
Right.
It really does suck because we're talking about a veteran who was what, he was on deployment. Did he get in trouble? Do you know anything as far as what happened?
No, these are senior veterans, retired veterans, going to do their monthly checkups.
Did they get bumped off or they
Yeah, they
there's
got rescheduled for the next flight available.
and in American Samoa there's only like three flights that goes there during the week, right?
Hmm. During
Two,
the I think during the high holidays, 3 days a week, or I forgot. And I know it's 2 days a week, but special flights are always added.
yeah. Wow.
And this was during the summer.
So what can we do about it like you asked earlier? That's another thing is and then again though, is that like a common thing? Is it a common thing for the employees to be doing that? Because maybe they're also Hawaiian Air can be using that would have been like one or two incidents or a handful of it, or is it something that you're aware of alone that this happens all the time? What I'm saying is,
Or
are they using that as a tool to, hey, not only this is why we're charging you guys so much, and this is why we're also asking about the weight capacity because this is what's going on, and not only that, your people are doing, we can't make change if our own people is doing the same thing, corrupting it too.
and also who's telling Hawaiian airline passengers I with the government adding the government people on there, removing the people from their appointments. Who's ordering that? From what office? So if you're going to try like this to say if this happened during the Togiola time, was he doing the same thing? Was his government doing the same thing, removing people and adding people? But yet you want to fight for, you know, put out executive orders. But again, contradicting. I'm not saying he did. I'm just asking the questions. Those who have answers, please answer. Let us know. But so if you're going to try and help the country out, the island, but yet you contradict yourself by doing something else by removing these veterans who should be going to get their appointments and put government employees on there so they can go and perform, make that make sense to me. This is our opinion. But then again, if you share with us, like if you want to show face, like my cousin said, it's nice to have you on the platform. We'll welcome those of you who work at Hawaiian Airlines out there. You're more than welcome to come on our platform and share with us your side because there's sides to everything. And we're just here, we just have questions. We just want to have honest conversations because we do see the need of change. It needs to happen. Our people are already suffering with, not the minimum wages back home and the money that's being made. And even here in the US, the mainland.
Why does it matter to Waius? Because, like again, it's the same distance hour when you're traveling on the air, 5 hours from LAX to Honolulu. It's 5 hours on air from Pago Pago to Honolulu. Why are a little island that the minimum wage is still what, $2 and change? Don't quote me on it. Allegedly, around that area, it ain't double digits like it is in California, one of the most expensive places to live in the U.S. And they're only from LAX to Honolulu is only 500 and change, but from Honolulu to Pago is it's double, sometimes triple the price, right? And one of the statement from the airline's argument is they're saying, oh, because of the fuel. Well, guess what? Even if you was to refuel in American Samoa, per the charge per gallon is still a lot lesser than the amount that LAX is charging you. So that still doesn't add up, And
And
when we,
that's what we're gonna do, bro, as part of the White House podcast, is do the
yeah,
comparison.
and that's what we're trying to do is be transparent. And, we don't want to just be like, hey, treat us right. No, we also want to see the other side. There's always two sides of the story while you're charging us. Hawaiian Air, reach out. We're going to continually try our best to reach out to you guys to hear your side of the story, to set things right. Because so far, everything that you provided on your website, it still doesn't make sense, and it feels like it's still a loopholes and utilizing FAA as a backup to cover what you're why you just cannot agree with us and say that, hey, yes, we're charging you guys a lot because Hawaii from Samoa, American Samoa, the flights, if I'm correct, which I'm not sure, it's probably always full flight going there because it only goes there twice or sometimes three times out of the week, right?
Mhm.
So when it's a full flight and you're tripling the prices, but then the flights that go from to LA is still the same thing and and the price is less. Does it still make sense? Why are we doing that? You know what I'm saying?
Well, being devil's advocate, maybe because we have so many standbys.
How does that work with the standby?
So employees who work for the airlines, they have passes. You just, for family members or they can travel. Basically, you don't pay anything. You're an employee at the airlines. I don't know if they do the taxes, they pay paycheck, but really it's nothing. You just get a pass, you just get on the flight, and you just wait and see if there's available seats. If there's available seats, you get on. But I know the buddy passes, it costs a certain amount of money, and then you pay that, and I don't know the percentage, but it's way less. It's way cheaper than paid full fare.
Yeah,
Then you
isn't
got
it
this
just
thing.
you're just paying the taxes?
Yeah, then you got this thing. I think so. Then you got this thing called K fare. It's a confirmed seating, but depending on the dates and availability of that K fare, most likely will be paying less than full fare. So there's a lot of benefits to working for Hawaiian Airlines. So maybe because if you look at that list, I know I was on that list quite a few times. There's like over almost 20 plus people on standby.
So many people on standby. But then again, how does as we're playing devil advocate, here's my counter. I'm pretty sure not everybody in American Samoa, the 60,000 population over there, like 60,000 of them are employed by Hawaiian Air. So it's just a selected few that has these buddy passes.
You're
What
thinking
about the
small,
rest?
buddy. You're thinking small, buddy.
Yeah,
There's American.
educate me.
There's Hawaiian Airlines. The hub is in Hawaii, right? You got people working at the airlines there. Anyone who works for the company can use their benefits, not just the people in American Samoa. You got employees here in Seattle, Los Angeles, San Francisco. You even got sister companies. If you work for United Airlines, you can do I don't know what it's called, but ID something, and they can get cheaper fares that way, but you're still on standby. So there's a lot of ways. So it's expanded. It's not just, a small little, everyone has connection to someone who works for Hawaiian Airlines and so forth. So just think about that.
So what is the point? You think that that has something to do with also the reason why the fares are more to Pang Pang?
No, if I was the CEO of Hawaiian Airlines, that's exactly what I'd be looking at. Like we only fly here twice a week, and I see majority of these passengers are K fare passes, buddy passes, etc. I'm like, God damn, that's a lot of money I'm losing out on. You know, that's why I'm gonna keep these fares high because this is me, CEO, talking. They desperate. They will pay the funds because there's only one airline to get there, so they will pay the fare because we see it. They do it all the time. If they want to go through Fiji Airways, come to Samoa and get to Hawaii, by all means do it. But my airline is still an airline. It's the only one that's going to American Samoa.
And that's another thing that we're looking at, right? Like, how come Fiji Airlines not the ones being the direct flight to, since it's another Polynesian air company? And are these airlines, are they even owned by Polynesians, or is just because the name,
Mm-mm.
as a corporate? So those are something for us coconuts to ponder on and really look into if you are tired of paying that much fare. As for why Oos, we just bring you the news. We're just talking about it because it's been brought up to our attention, and that's why we're bringing it forward to you. Did we do our part? Can we bring experts on the platform? Yes, but it takes also you guys. It takes a village to grow this podcast. So we need your help in order to make this happen and for your voices to be heard, right?
Absolutely. Come on. Come with us. Take this journey with us because this is going to be a fun ride.
I know. And what yeah, because you also said about like what else can they do, what else can American Samoa governor do to counter Hawaiian Air? Well, there's no one. You know, we only heard that Togiola threatened to look for other competitions, right?
Yeah.
You need to continue to do that every year. It's or whenever the contract is up to shop around and find better deals for us. So there you go. Hire like expert salespeople to make better deals for our governor instead of just the regular folks or whoever's been doing it, because obviously they're not doing a good job at it.
And obviously, we ain't experts. So we're just trying to put out ideas out there because to every issue and a problem, we need a solution. We need a solution. And how do we get to a solution? We just got to start doing our research. And this is part of it. We learn from our mistakes. Obviously, the executive order does not work because Hawaiian Airlines just wiped their asses with it and it just came in and brought in federal law. So what do we need to do? We need to start educating ourselves on federal laws that govern this whole airline situation. So who do we need to go to? Who do we need to negotiate with? Who, all this who. So once we find out what we need to do, that's why we're doing this movement because we were like, we us too, we can't do it ourselves. We, we want to put the word out there and basically start this movement of helping our people for affordable prices and fair and equitable across the board. But that's the thing. We have to start doing our due diligence if we really want to be about something. We want to be about something, then we need to stay ready. And by staying ready, we need to know what we're looking into and what we're doing. And we just need some guidance too from those of you who know how to guide us and just moving us, directing us to the right path.
Yeah, and one more thing is that the blueprint is already out there, you know. You see a lot of these other countries, they advocate for themselves, they rally together with one voice. They put out rallies out there, Samoa, if you want to do the same thing, you got to do it. We see that New Zealand and Australia is impacting their Polynesian community in so many great ways, and because they're standing by each other. And American Samoa, we need to do the same thing.
And I know one of the first things YUS will do is contact our legislative individual who is Congresswoman Amata. She's
Yeah, so
out
this is a
there.
call to action. Go ahead, let her know. We need you to come on to the podcast and enlighten us with the information that our people has questions about, because there's about he said she
Mhm.
said thing going on.
Like what committee we need to go to, who do we need to talk to, Miss Congresswoman, because we need this. Let's start 2025 with a bang, and we need boots on the ground. I don't mind doing that because of I've been doing legislative work, for 20 plus years for my job. So those of you who do know how to, want to go help me with this, hit me up.
So we have a few testimonies here from actual passengers from the flight Honolulu to Pango Pango. And unfortunately, the comment or the message, the person wants to remain anonymous. So we're going to respect that. But just to show the ones that are tuning in from YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify, as you can see on our screen at the YUs, we have real footage here showing that these are real people who commented. This is not me or Queen trying to make something up for you guys. And then Queen's going to go ahead and read it off.
Hawaiian Air has been abusing us Samoans for so long. They are horrible. Sis, they canceled our flight from Sacramento to Hawaii that Monday morning because of their fault aircraft. Then, because we did not get to Hawaii, of course, we missed our connecting flight to Pongo that Monday. When Hawaiian announced our flight to be canceled, they didn't even help us reroute to Hawaii with other flights. We were stuck in Sacramento and they were not trying to accommodate us. My father in law is 84 and a Vietnam veteran, and Hawaiian Air was trying to make us wait 10 hours at the airport for the next flight out. I asked the Hawaiian manager for accommodations for a hotel, and he said they don't accommodate us there. I said he better accommodate my father in law because he is elderly and needs to rest. He then said, okay, I guess we can. I also said, and we need another room for my kids. And he said, okay, is anyone there with a disability? I said, no, but my 11-year-old child needs to rest. Then he said, okay, let me see if I can get that approved. He left that counter and then came back and said, oh, okay, I guess we can accommodate you as well. Then she went on to say, girl, he was a jerk. When we got to the hotel there, why were there many single men that got delayed with us too at the hotel? And one of them said they just gave him the voucher for the hotel, no questions asked. Then she ended with, and that's not it, sis. They said we are in two priority for the following flight Thursday because we had missed taking my husband's body home because his body was flown from San Francisco, in which we were supposed to meet there in Hawaii. Hawaiian Airlines told us we were in top of the waiting list. The nerve of these people. When we landed in Hawaii, the following day, Tuesday, Hawaiian Air said we were confirmed for seats to American Samoa on the next flight, Thursday. We confirmed again the next day, and we were still confirmed. When we got to the check in counter Thursday morning, they told us we were confirmed to leave the following Monday. How stressful. I called down the manager and she said in Samoan, okay, sis, don't worry, we have you on your family on the flight. So, in other words, Hawaiian Airline plays games the community Samoan does for our flights. They keep their seats open for their own families and personnel. This was her responding. It was a mess getting to Pongo. Mind you, no, it cost us over $7,000 to be treated like that. 5 tickets for $1,700 each, and we had to put up with that.
Put yourself in her shoes, What do you say?
It's heavy. It's You're
This
already
person lost
grieving.
somebody, yeah.
Yes. And
And then
then
on
you have
top
to
of
go
that,
through
is
this.
he or she said it's 1,700 per passenger for five of
Yes.
them.
She spent about $7,000. Remember when I talked about this unexpected situations, and this is one of them. And I'm sure there's people out there with similar stories because I've heard some, but this is the one that directly I asked if I could share her story. So thank you so much for sharing your story because it was um, it was heartbreaking to see her post when I saw her post, and I also hashtag or at mentioned Hawaiian Airline, basically telling them to do better and so forth.
And then she's also mentioned something about, so was it a ticket agent in Hawaii going
In
to
Sacramento,
and it was a
I
Samoan?
it was someone who, when she went and checked in Hawaii, I believed. But remember the one in or maybe in Sacramento, same Sacramento. But the fact that they say she was confirmed and then was removed, they confirmed again. But good thing that agent, some one lady, was able to put her back on the flight. And then dealing with being stuck in Sacramento and with being told that you're going to stay at the airport for 10 hours. And then when she finally basically fought for that room to be calm, you get to the hotel, then you speak to other people who are on the same flight, obviously, and say that they had no problem, no issue, basically just handed a voucher for the hotel and so forth. So that's why the question is, why did she have to argue for hers and those men didn't? She said there's a lot of single men that were just offered the voucher for the hotel and stuff, and she had to basically fight for her father-in-law and her family.
Again, it's the awareness of the fact that our people are paying over $1,000 per ticket, and we're talking about Sacramento, so that's a good 10-hour on air flight just to get to Pampanga. Not only mention that you It's pretty much you got to spend a day and a half in Hawaii if you have family members in Hawaii
Mm-hmm.
for the layover. I'm pretty sure people that are tuning in can relate to this, even if you're not Samoan. I'm sure it happens to a lot of Polynesian people. And again, it doesn't affect you until you're actually going through it.
Mm-hmm.
Then it all of a sudden it matters.
Right.
But hey, that's why we're here, right?
Mm-hmm.
To put
Yeah.
a spotlight on something of the news that nobody wants to talk about. Because we're talking about almost 7,000. And Falavilavi's funerals are more than that. So not only that you got the cost of your airfare, then you got to ask your families, the extended families too, where you see a lot of them on social media complain about like, oh, Falavilavis. Well, that's why we're doing Falavilavis because ain't nobody want to help us out but our own people. That's why we end up giving so much. It's because of stuff like this. It would have been different if we were all still in Samoa. But unfortunately, that's not reality. Everybody has moved outside of the island to have a better life, like us. Shout out to those that comment.
Okay.
A lot of the comments were from the TikTok side, and they were just a lot of people rooting for us. Uso Brolin from the 684 from the Uso Truckers,
Mm.
the Samoan baddie from Alaska, a
Yes,
Hunkin
ma'am.
Girl, Air Dash. Shout out to our people. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
here's one. Shout out to the ones that did leave some comments. As you can see right there from Phi Tizzle 684. The truth is, Hawaiian Airlines don't care. There is no competitions. It's a monopoly. Plus, to their company, Bango Bango's flight is international, not domestic. They use every policy excuse to justify their rates. And as you can see, us comment down there. Another one is from Oahu, Samoa. And it says, it's not just the rates I find outrageous, it's the Hawaiian aircraft that is used to fly from Hawaii to Pago. Everything about this aircraft is outdated. So that, shout out to the listeners, man. Shout out to those that posted. I mean,
Ain't lying. Not
they
lying.
they're not lying, for real. The people do want to know. The people do want to hear, and it continues on. We continue on getting attractions of it with 106 likes and 19 comments and eight saved for the TikTok. So the algorithm is blowing up. It's already reached about 5,000 views. It matters.
It does matter. Mm-hmm.
And we posted that back on the 19th. And today is the 29th. So that should tell you something. On our YouTube channel, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to our YOs on YouTube. Shout out to Samoan Diecast. The Uso says, what's up, guys? Good to hear from you, Queen. And also L Banger 415, one of our loyal listeners. Queen and Wahoo's Banger Podcast. Keep pushing. And then last but not least, Mativa Guresa 6815. Man, I'm so glad that you and Queen are bringing this up. The people need to know about the money and where is it going. I feel like they are making up projects just for money to where it goes to. But for some reason, they're pocketing majority of that money. So American Samoa still looks the same every time I go home. Few changes have made, but goddamn, do better, American Samoa. Shout out to Queen and another good show from the White Ooze podcast.
That's what's up. Thanks, guys.
Mativa Kuresa 6815, the Uso and Samoan Diecast, man. My brothers have been, you know, helping us with the algorithm. We really appreciate you guys. And why are we doing a shout out? Because it really does go a long way. You know what I'm saying? Supporting us this way.
Love it. Just love it.
If you find this episode interesting, drop a comment below. Some people have asked me like, where do we get our merchandise from? Like our hats, our shirts that we sell. And if you're a small business owner, you want to do something like that, it's called on demand. If you're not aware of it, and we're through Printy. Is it Printy or Printful?
Grateful.
Printful, one of those things. You go
Yeah.
get somebody almost
Started with the P. You good. You
yeah.
on track.
But we'll post a link below too, and we have a little, right now, very short. I'm going to go ahead and play our little affiliated promo because if you want to start your own business or start selling your own merchandise, you can find it at Printful.
Want to see your designs come to life? Printful makes it easy. They launched their own merch line. And you can too. Printful is your one-stop shop. Use simple design tools to bring your vision to life. No need for inventory or upfront costs. Just create, and we'll handle the rest. Watch your designs get printed and shipped. From tees to totes, we've got you covered. Printful manages everything, so you can focus on growing your brand. Imagine your own custom merch in the hands of your fans. It's possible with Printful. Ready to start? Sign up, launch your journey today.
And if you want to support the Whyuce podcast, visit our website, www.whyuce.com. That's spelled WHYUCE.com. Why am I spelling it out? For our audio listeners, so you're welcome.
Everyone loves to hear an affirmation. I'm big on affirmation too, and most people like to be not to be praised, but to be acknowledged, because most people are not acknowledged, and that's the problem with people at work and bosses and stuff. So that's why Whyuce is here. We're here to fill in that void, to make sure that you all are taken care of. So if you think that today's a bad day, you can always make it better. So here's one that I have on my phone that I liked, and I was going to put it out today, but hey, successful people keep chasing their dreams even when they get frustrated. Just because you're frustrated does not mean you have to stop and give up. It's easy to stop when you're frustrated. So keep going, keep trucking, and just keep hitting the ground.
And I'm Kenny Mofanua.
And I'm Queen.
See you in the next episode.
From the islands to the countryside, Whyuce and Queen, we're family strong. Two cousins in America, where we belong. Join the journey.